So, what I expect from you to get from this part is a basic understanding of request and response objects, and as well as understanding what happens in this static class from the request object. So, let's visit the request class. Okay, so basically it's a wrapper around the request. It takes in information from the request from PHP and basically wraps it in this class. So as we go down, you can see what it does in the initialize. It creates a parameter bag. Parameter bag is a sort of like a data transfer object. You can Google it. It's basically an object that contains data. So not to go too much into domain-driven development, it's a good practice to use such classes. Public static function create from globals. This is what we're calling here. Okay, so what it does, it takes PHP's default get parameters, post parameters, post as in a post form, like form type post. Hopefully you know what that means. I showed you what a get request means in the previous chapter, not the previous one, but some time ago, yeah. It takes in the global cookie from PHP, the global fuzz, the global server, and it does some manipulation below. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it takes the query. It does some magic here. Let's call it that. Yeah, it's a lot of code, but what I'm trying to aim at here is that it basically does a lot of things that make your life easier. So then you can just use request get and get the name of the parameter, or you can get request post. If I'm not mistaken, you can get an HTTP host. As you can see, you get the scheme and HTTP host, a lot of useful functions you get out of the box, which is really nice. Let's look at the response. Response contains what a response HTTP header would contain. So there are some constants here. So there are HTTP types of request, a lot of them. Let's see below. Okay, so this is an integer, this is a string, char set, a string, status types, really nice. Okay, this is some code about deprecation, not important. Basically, if you just compose or install it, it will work and you will feel safe, you will write good code. And I don't suggest you go through everything in this response object, but just skimming a bit is gonna be useful for you because you will be a much better developer by looking at the core code of Symfony, because Symfony is wrote so elegantly that you will definitely have an advantage over the others by looking at its core. If you can, if you cannot, then just follow the official documentation. Okay, we can see there is content passed in the response. Okay, so it basically just prints hello string. Here it just escapes special characters with a flag which is defined here. Okay, so you can read this. We'll convert both double and single quotes. Here is a reference. So this is basically what a request and response looks like in Symfony. Response send. What it does is it sends the headers, it sends the content, and returns the response object itself. Okay, so that's basically it for like dissecting the internals of request and response in Symfony.